Good local campaigns starting up, like hot to vote.
How to vote?
Hot to vote.
Oh,
Chapel Rowan style.
it is hard to vote.
Heck yeah, what merch?
City merch. Cool. And attractive, you know?
Totally. Totally.
Give me merch.
Yeah. Food restaurant that went in where Quincy's was?
I believe so.
Did you see that?
Mm-hmm.
That's not that.
Yeah.
Always seems to take forever to turn these.
I have 6 o'clock. If everyone could please rise and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. And Christy, could you take a roll call, please?
Critelli.
Present.
Pappenfort. Here. Stevens.
Here.
Nacarado. Here. Martin.
Here.
Montana.
Here.
Mayor Shore.
Here.
A quorum is present.
And that brings us to the consent agenda. Do we have any questions or comments on that this evening?
Mr. Mayor, I move to combine and approve the items on the consent agenda.
Second.
Second.
So that was you, right? Okay, great. So we have a motion from Councilmember Critelli, seconded by Councilmember Nacarado, and the motion is to combine and approve the items on the consent agenda. Further discussion?
Stevens.
Yes.
Critelli.
Yes.
Nacarado.
Yes.
Montana.
Yes.
Pappenfort.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
And next up, we have citizen comment. And this is an opportunity for the council to hear from our community. And the public will be limited to 3 minutes each during citizen comments. At the end of the 3 minutes, there'll be a clock on the screen. I will thank you. And if anyone feels like there wasn't enough time, please reach out to me between meetings. The council may not respond to your comment this evening, but rather we may take it under advisement and follow up with the appropriate department. And if necessary, the city administrator will correct the public record. And tonight, we have Adam Martinez.
Thank you. I would like to thank the city for, in essence, getting rid of Mrs. Adelman's trash. And I would also like to point out that Mrs. Adelman is back on the property. From what I heard from Chief Johnson, that it was 11:30 this morning when they told her to get off the property. And the thing of it is I've heard various stories whether she could be on the property or not be on the property, and it needs to be enforced by Christie, and she needs to reinforce it to Chief Johnson, because in essence, about a year and a half ago, there was trash, and the city had to, in essence, clean it up again. And I don't want the same thing to happen. I know Debbie Clark called me this afternoon and she complained about it. And she said that you guys need to reinforce it. It needs to be reinforced, or else we're not going to get anywhere. And it's going to be the same thing over and over again. And then I was at, not the last meeting, but the previous meeting, and Justin was acting as the mayor pro temp. And in essence, after I had made my comments, I had left, and Mrs. Dooms was acting inappropriately, and then in essence, when she said what she said, Christie was laughing, and I think that part of the mayor pro tem's job is to rein in when that kind of behavior continues. I know Councilwoman Martin said, well, she is the administrator and manages the city, but you guys need to identify what her role is, and I just think that the behavior should have been addressed. And then one last thing about the fire department, that the fire department is asking for more money. In essence, there's people in Salida that are living paycheck to paycheck, and in essence, we're squandering money in our budget for the fire station, remodeling City Hall, and a new police station. We need to get our business in order before we give the fire department money. I think it's inappropriate for the chief to be whining about it. Thanks, bye.
Great. And I don't believe we have anyone else. I'm going to take a moment and respond to a couple of the comments that came up this evening. The first of which is the property at 610 Walnut. It goes through the courts, the judicial system. And we have been working through the court system for years on this. And it's not the decision of the administrator, rather it's a decision of the courts. If the courts do not provide us with a ruling that allows us to enforce, we're quite limited. The other point I want to make, no, you're not here to talk. You had your speaking time, thank you. The other thing that I want to mention is that Administrator Dune has been operating under the auspices of this council. As it pertains to the new police station, she brought it to my attention, she brought it to the Finance Committee's attention, absolutely she did, and she stayed within the scope of her work. And I just wanted to go on the record and clarify that. Do we have anyone online?
We do not.
Great, thank you. Next up, let's see, we have a proclamation. And it is declaring October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month. Whereas October is a National Disability Employment Awareness Month, NDEAM, a time to recognize the contributions of individuals with disabilities to our workforce and to promote inclusive employment practices. And whereas people with disabilities bring diverse talents, perspectives, and skills that enrich our workplaces and communities. And whereas fostering an inclusive environment is essential for innovation, creativity, and economic growth, and helps to eliminate barriers that hinder employment opportunities for individuals with disabilities. And whereas we honor the efforts of organizations, advocates, and individuals dedicated to promoting disability inclusion and accessibility in the workplace. And whereas we encourage all employers to consider the value of a diverse workforce and to implement inclusive hiring practices that provide opportunities for individuals with disabilities. Whereas the City of Salida recognizes the importance of inclusive employment and to celebrate the contributions of individuals with disabilities in our communities and workplaces. Let us work together to create an equitable society where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. Now, therefore, the City of Salida does hereby proclaim the month of October as National Disability Employment Awareness Month. All right, thank you. And now we have a liquor licensing authority hearing, and this is a public hearing before the Salida City Council sitting as the Salida Liquor Licensing Authority on an application for a change of liquor license location submitted by Jose Pena to transfer his liquor license from 1220 East Highway 50 to 710 Milford Street within the City of Salida. Before the hearing begins, I will outline the manner in which the hearing will be conducted and the order in which we will receive testimony. Although the authority is acting as a judge of this case, I note for the applicant and members of the public that strict rules of evidence do not apply. Any evidence that is relevant to the matter at hand may be considered by this authority. It is then up to each member of the authority to determine the credibility and weight of all such evidence as it relates to their decision. As chair, I may limit testimony or evidence determined to be irrelevant, repetitive, or cumulative. The order of the public hearing will be as follows. Number one, this authority will accept the preliminary investigation reports and findings of the city. Two, the applicant may present an opening statement if they would choose to. The applicant will present its request to the authority. Prior to excusing the applicant's witnesses, cross-examination shall be permitted in the following order. First off, authority members, and second off, any other party in interest. Fourth, the city may present evidence and witnesses, if any. Prior to excusing the city's witnesses, cross-examination shall be permitted in the following order. A, the applicant or its representative, B, authority members, and C, any other party of interest. Number five, I'm getting close. Any party in interest may present evidence and testimony. Before excusing witnesses, cross-examination of interested parties and their witnesses shall be permitted in the following order. A, the applicant or its representative, B, authority members. Six, the applicant may then present any rebuttal evidence if it wishes to. The city may then also provide rebuttal evidence, if any. Seven, the applicant is then permitted to give a closing statement if they choose to. Throughout this process, the authority may ask questions. After all evidence and testimony has been received, I will close the hearing. The authority will then begin its deliberations on this application. The authority will make a decision by motion and roll call vote. So I now open the public hearing on an application for a change of liquor license location submitted by Jose Pena for the premises of 1220 East Highway 50 to be moved to 710 Milford Street, Salida, Colorado. I invite the city clerk to provide the authority with the city's preliminary investigation reports and findings.
Thank you.
I'm so glad to pass the baton to you.
Thank you, for a little bit.
Yeah.
So Jose Pena of Fiesta Mexicana requested change of locations of his liquor license for the Fiesta Mexicana, which the license is licensed at 1220 East Highway 50, wants to change it to 710 Milford. If it's approved, he's also going through the change of name to Fiesta Tapatia. I think he's already put up his sign, so that will be the name of his license. Public hearing was noticed in the Mountain Mail August 20th, and we put the poster at the property on September 18th. Fire and police have done their inspections. They passed all of the inspections. They've paid all their fees. And staff recommends approval for them to change the liquor license location from 1220 East Highway 50 to 710 Milford. And I can answer any questions if you have them.
Yeah. Questions for Christy? Okay, very good. Then I will go ahead and invite the applicant to come up, and you can make an opening statement if you'd like. Thank you.
I just only say thank you for your help, and we try to do the best that we can for Salida. So, and we're still here.
Okay. Thank you for
No,
being
thank
here.
you.
Thank you for being here. And then if you don't mind just staying up for just one more second, sorry. And you have no obligation after, but it says if you want to present your request, what you're looking to do to us, that would be fine. You don't have to, but you can if you'd like.
Well, I'm here in this town for working in Fiesta Mexicana for 10 years.
Yeah.
So I think it's a lot of people, they know me, they know what's the restaurant. And even like 10 minutes ago, they called me, do you have already margaritas? I say, no, not yet. So.
So that's why we're here tonight.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you.
No.
Great. Okay. Very good. Does the city have any evidence, witnesses?
No, we don't.
No, nothing there. Do we have any parties of interest here this evening that would like to speak on this? Seeing nothing there. There's no rebuttal evidence, so we'll keep moving on. And if you'd like, you're more than welcome to make a closing statement. Totally up to you. Okay, great. Very good. All right. So Not hearing any more evidence to be brought before the authority on this matter, I now close the public hearing. Liquor Authority, you may begin your deliberations. Who would like to begin?
It all looks pretty straightforward to me, so I'm in favor of it.
Is that moved to the, is that the Quincy's restaurant? Is
Yeah.
that where I'm
Yep.
moved to? Okay.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah. I'll take a motion if there's no more discussion.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve a change of location request for Pepe LLC DBA Fiesta Mexicana from 1220 East Highway 50 to 710 Milford Street.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Nacarado, seconded by Councilmember Pappenfort. And the motion is to move for a change of location request for Pepe LLC, DBA Fiesta Mexicana, from 1220 East Highway 50 to 710 Milford Street. Further discussion?
Fontana,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Nacarado,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Davenport,
Yes.
Critelli.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay. And next up, we have unfinished business. And the first item is Resolution 2024-59, a resolution of the City Council for the City of Salida, Colorado, approving the subdivision improvements, development improvements, and inclusionary housing agreement for the Flour Mill Plan Development and Major Subdivision. And this is continued from the September 17th, 2024 council meeting.
Thank you, Mayor. Evening, Mayor and Council. So yes, as you stated, this is for the approval of subdivision improvements, development improvements, and inclusionary housing agreement for Flour Mill Plan Development and Major Subdivision. In essence, this is what we do for all of our subdivisions that include public improvements and inclusionary housing. And in this particular case, the applicant agreed to a minimum of 35 inclusionary housing units as part of the 69-unit development. The subdivision improvement agreement does provide for guarantees of 125% of the estimated cost for the public improvements on top of that. And I should note that this is considered separate to the next item that you'll hear regarding the incentives agreement around inclusionary housing, which is offered at a larger percentage, but we'll get to that at the next item. So with that, just go ahead and make the recommendation that council approve this agreement, and the suggested motion is provided there. If you have any questions, I'm more than happy to take them.
Questions for Bill?
If I could,
Yeah.
apologies. I believe Nina wanted
Thank
you
you.
to.
Thank you for the reminder.
Yes.
I literally just thought of it and forgot it entirely. So there was one change since the last time that you saw the agreement, and it just simply had to do with the amount of time for the back and forth regarding inspections and approvals of the public improvements out there. And Nina, please correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe that it was agreed upon that 10 business days would be.
For all of that, if you
Okay.
like.
Okay, go
Yeah.
ahead.
Sorry, it's good background, but in the document that's in your packet, there were highlighted blanks. So, most of the, Bill's correct that most of the highlighted blanks are 10. So that if you look on page, if we could pull up the agreement in the packet of us, possible 5.6. So every time there's a blank, we would insert 10, and I'll give you recommended motion language, except that David has recommended the first time that you see the blank, that we exchange this, this sentence. Developer shall contract with geotechnical engineer directly, and no pass-through of inspection costs are anticipated for this development. So if that's clear to everyone, if you ask me questions, but if the motion language could be to approve this resolution with the minor changes as noted by the city attorney related to the highlighted blanks in your packet.
Can we get a little more volume or?
We're at 100%. Nina, can you turn up your microphone at all?
Oh, okay. Is that better? I could call my phone. It's the loudest it could be.
I can hear you now.
It's a little bit better.
Yeah.
Okay, so There's 5 highlights in the packet, and Bill explained why. So if you could, each blank should be 10 business days, except for section 5.6, which I'll reread the sentence. Developer shall contract with geotechnical engineer directly, and no pass-through of inspection costs are anticipated for this development. I'm comfortable, given that these changes are minor, if a motion, if you do approve, that you just say approved with the changes noted, with the highlighted blanks, by the city attorney a couple minutes ago.
Okay, so no need for an amendment, just approved with changes noted. Am I getting that right?
Yes.
Okay, great, thanks. Questions for Nina or Bill?
No.
If there are no questions, we will move on to council discussion. Who would like to begin?
I'm satisfied with the way it is. I think that's why there's no discussion. I think that we've talked about it a lot already, and I think that we're happy to see it come into a form that we can approve and move on.
Yeah, and this is a standard practice.
Yeah.
It is. I'll note that the little bit of iteration there with the number of business days was requested on the part of the applicant and the applicant's attorney, and given the amount of inclusionary housing as part of this, it was seen to be something in line with our policies.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's great to see it moving forward, and thanks for all the developers and staff's work on that.
Yeah, I really appreciate all the collaboration that went into this.
Mr. Mayor, would you like a motion?
Sure, I'd love a motion.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to approve Resolution 2024-59 to approve the proposed subdivision improvements, development improvements, and inclusionary housing agreement for the Flour Mill Plan Development and Major Subdivision with the changes noted? Is that what she would like?
Yeah, approved with the changes noted,
Approved with the
absolutely.
changes noted.
Yeah.
Second.
Okay, great. So we have a motion from Councilmember Fontana, seconded by Councilmember Pappenfort. The motion is to approve Resolution 2024-59 to approve the proposed subdivision improvements, development improvements, and inclusionary housing agreement for the Flour Mill Plan Development and Major Subdivision with the changes noted. Further discussion?
I will be recusing myself from voting because of a conflict with the applicant.
Any other discussion?
Nacarado,
Yes.
Pappenfort,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Fontana,
Yes.
Critelli.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, and moving on to Resolution 2024-60, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Salida, Colorado, approving an incentive and development agreement with Biker Baker Holdings LLC related to the Flour Mill development. This was also continued from the September 17th, 2024 council meeting.
Yes, I'll be presenting this, and obviously Bill or Christy can jump in as needed. So as Bill mentioned, our community development director, the last, what you just approved was regarding the land use approval, meaning that's, like you said, this is a typical agreement. This relates to what the minimum that the applicant had requested for the PD for the housing. So the discrepancy with this one, if you might see, is that in executive session a month or so ago, the developer had asked for these incentives, and in exchange for a much higher amount of permanently restricted affordable housing units. So above and beyond their land use approval, which was the last agreement. So they are asking for the incentives that are listed under financial impact, which I'll go into, in exchange that 61 out of 69 of the units will be permanently restricted affordable housing, various levels, but 120% or less, other than one that will be 140%. So given the need for housing in the community, you had given negotiating parameters, and what we did is the $200,000 of it is for public infrastructure, and it will only be reimbursement. The developer will submit receipts to the city administrator, who will pay them, so it has to be for something that's already done. And then the 172,500 is due to a reduction in open space fees, 2,500 per unit versus 5,000 per unit. And we put, in this agreement, there are significant clawbacks and revenues to ensure the money is returned to the city should the construction not be completed. And people might be wondering, well, sometimes people don't have funds. This is going to be recorded on the property. So if something happens, hopefully it doesn't, but if something happens, the city is protected, that it would force the sale of the property, and this money would be returned to the city. The reason why I was continued is we were working with the attorney. I was working with the developer's attorney. We're all on the same page, have had good conversations. They understand the meaning of this agreement. It's good for the community, and it also has those protections, as we discussed. Are there any questions?
Questions for Attorney Williams? Apparently, you answered every question in your. Okay, so if there are no questions, let's move into council discussion. Who would like to begin that?
You know, this seems to reflect what we discussed. And so, you know, having read it, I'm trying to think of a question just to, you know, be questionable, but I really don't have any.
Well, I do have one addition. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Since the last version of the agreement 2 weeks ago, it had a very short time frame. By December 31st, 2027, if the 61 units, or we put 60 to make the language quicker, if the 60 units affordable are not built, we would use our clawbacks. The developer has asked for 2 more years. So see, it says 2027 in the staff report. That's on me for not updating. The agreement itself says 2029. So that's an update that the developer is requesting. I said I'll have to run it by the council. It's, you know, you are giving these development incentives in exchange for quick construction, but then again, I think it's reasonable given that this is the worst case scenario. This is the time frame by which we would, you know, seek to take to get that return of the money. So I just wanted to point that out.
And I think it makes sense, just from a standpoint of going out to the banks, getting loans, to have more time to execute on the building of, you know, what is really a significant number of units being built. So that makes sense to me.
And it takes time to work with us, so adding some time for him to get the job done totally makes sense.
Yeah.
No, that's exactly what Nina said there. Was the December 31st, 2027 would have been my question of, that's a lot of units to build in two years, a little over 2 years. So I'm glad that it's changed to 2029.
In the agreement, I apologize for not updating the staff report. That's on me.
I would just say something. I've been on council now for 7 years, and this is the first project that I have seen in those 7 years where willingly a developer has come far exceeding what our code sets forth. And I hope this is the beginning of something like that, where more will come, and that we will have the opportunity to work with others in the future. So I just want to say thanks for thinking outside the box and bringing something to us that I think can answer a lot of questions in our community for our workforce. So.
Yeah, I'd heard a little bit of concern about what kind of precedent this sets, and I think that's what the hope is that there's a precedence here. 61 permanently restricted affordable units out of 69. I could get used to seeing more projects looking like that. So. Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2024-60 to approve the proposed incentive and development agreement with Biker and Baker Holdings LLC related to the Flour Mill development.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Curtelli, seconded by Councilmember Fontana. The motion is to approve Resolution 2024-60, excuse me, to approve the proposed incentive and development agreement with Biker Baker Holdings LLC related to the Flour Mill development. Further discussion?
I'm also going to recuse myself from this one because of the same reason.
Thank you. Any other? No?
Stevens,
Yes.
Critelli,
Yes.
Nacarado,
Yes.
Fontana,
Yes.
Peppenford?
Yes.
Motion passed.
And on to new business. Resolution 2024-63, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Salida, Colorado, certifying delinquent charges, assessments, or taxes to the Chaffey County Treasurer to be added to the 2024 tax roll.
This is an annual process we go through, and of the 3,600 something utility accounts that we manage in the office, we send out late notices and that sort of thing. If somebody doesn't pay their bill, we assess late charges. We eventually turn the water off. But every now and then, there is a property owner who does not pay us, and the charges keep accumulating. And so once a year, we take the list of property owners addresses to the Chaffey County Treasurer, and they put a lien on the property and apply it to the same tax bill, to their property tax bill, basically, and they collect the lien on our behalf, the delinquent taxes, I should say. And there is, it's an annual process we go through, and there are 7 delinquent water and sewer accounts going onto the tax rolls this year. And staff recommends approval of the motion.
Questions for Amy?
Good job, Amy.
It's, our utility accountant is very diligent and really stays on top of it. And I've even known her to go to people's homes to collect their payment if they were having a hard time getting in for whatever reason. I mean, she goes above and beyond to work with these people. She really does.
I love that small town
Yeah, it's pretty
aspect.
cool.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, I move to approve Resolution 2024-63 to certify delinquent charges, assessments, or taxes to the Chaffey County Treasurer to be added to the 2024 tax roll.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Pappenfort, seconded by Councilmember Nacarado, and the motion is to approve Resolution 2024-63 to certify delinquent charges, assessments, or taxes to the Chaffey County Treasurer to be added to the 2024 tax roll. Further discussion?
Critelli?
Yes.
Fontana?
Yes.
Peppenford?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Stevens?
Yes.
Nacarado?
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay, thank you. And then, you get to stay up.
Stan.
Next up is Resolution 2024-64, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Salida, Colorado, summarizing revenues and expenditures for each fund and adopting a budget for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2025 and ending on the last day of December 25. This is a public hearing.
It's correct. And I'll summarize.
And you know what, I'll go ahead and open because since
Okay,
it's public hearing, but don't go anywhere because I'm going to need you in less than a minute. So I hereby open the public hearing and I turn it over to you for your report. Thank you.
That was less than a minute. We started our discussion of the 2025 budget at your September 3rd work session, at which point the proposed budget was presented to you and made available to the public. We did notice that in the newspaper, and any citizen was given the opportunity to review the details of the budget. As you were, we had an additional meeting to discuss the budget on September 16th, a public meeting where we answered questions that you had and updated the budget. And today, I have before you the resolution that you will be asked to adopt. The line items all roll into, a resolution that just shows total expenses by fund. But at this point, we have made a few changes since we last talked about the budget, and I've outlined that in the council action forum. Basically, we've added $10,000 to the Economic Development Fund as seed money to start a New Year's Eve tradition downtown, and we have a committee I'm just going to go ahead and point him out, led by Bill Almquist. It was his brainchild.
Because he doesn't have enough on his plate.
I know, to energize, he's going to use community members, but to energize the downtown area on New Year's Eve, since nothing is going on down here. And I think it's the appropriate use of economic development fund dollars, and we actually have sufficient money without that hurting our fund balance reserves in that fund. $5,000 in donations are expected to be received. We had a rollover last year, 2023, of $3,000. More donations were collected for Shop with a Cop program than what were needed. We anticipate something similar happening this year, so we are rolling those funds into next year's budget. There's also, at this point, $20,000 in the Public Art Commission allocation for '24 that is remaining unspent, that we're going to roll into next year with the caveat that this is early. If that money ends up being spent between now and the end of the year, it won't be spent next year, okay? But there's a hold in the budget for next year in case it's not. And same thing, we're fully anticipating the fire station to be complete this year, but if there's some lingering expenses that fall into next year, we're using our debt issuance proceeds, our COPS proceeds, to pay for that. It wouldn't come out of general fund reserves, but I thought I better put something in the budget so we have something to spend. And other than that, the numbers are shown. We have, compared to last year, our total budget all funds is $36.8 million. Last year is $49.4 million. The reason for the decrease is mainly the fire station. But we've also increased this year housing fund spending, including the grant money that's coming in to match our dollars. We have a large water project, so that fund is a lot higher than it was the year before. But other than that, the general fund itself is flat. In fact, I think it's a little bit less than last year. It is. It's 15.6 million versus 15.7 million last year.
Okay. Any questions?
And I guess we need to hear from the public too.
Yeah, we're not, we will, but we're not, but we can still take, if anyone has questions at this point for you, that's completely fine.
Yeah, I've got a question, just something that's going to be coming up. We're having meetings scheduled for downtown business owners on what to expect with any possible closure for next year. And I figured, what should I tell them as far as what resources are being allocated, if any? What am I telling them? I'm going to tell them.
Sure. The staff is at your disposal. There is, approximately $1.5 million going into investment in downtown next summer with the intersections at F in 2nd and F in 3rd and G in 2nd. David has been researching other amenities that could potentially go in at the same time that would allow for a nice pedestrian experience. Of course, it's up to council if the F Street is going to be open or closed to vehicular traffic next summer, and this should come to you probably at the first meeting in November for you all to make that decision. So it'll really depend on what council would like to do. But there are, we've already been working with Monarch to put new banners up. The bollards will be going in. Yes.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'm honestly if the council doesn't set funding aside for it, we don't have an F Street closure
Right.
fund.
Yeah.
Okay.
And we should have more information with the reconvening of that working group, which is going to be, I believe, next week.
Next Wednesday.
Yeah, next Wednesday. So
Okay.
I think by next Thursday, we'll have more to talk about with our constituents.
Sure,
So,
sure.
yeah.
And what about when would the construction start?
That's a conversation we're going to have next Wednesday
Okay,
with
that's
the business
coming.
owners that are down, that are on that task force, get a feel for what they're thinking. We can also go door to door with the businesses, because we do want to get that project put out to bid in the next month so that we can get on a contractor schedule for next summer. So we were looking at either April through June, I believe, or July through October. David, is that right? I can't see him. Something like that. So it could be the first part of the summer or the second part, and we were going to talk to businesses about what made the most sense for them.
Right, I guess that depends on the construction also.
Yeah, like is a closure already kind of technically happening anyway because of that, and then what does that look like?
Right.
Okay, yeah, that's great.
Anyone else? Yeah.
I just want to double check that we did include in the budget the funding for the salary step for the fire department in
It is
anticipation of the
currently
IGA.
in the budget,
Okay.
yes.
Thank you.
And the only thing I wanted to mention was, with the additions I went to that Shop with a Cop event last year, and based on what I saw last year in terms of numbers and enthusiasm, I think that 5,000 is shooting pretty low. What do you say, Chief? I think they'll get more than that.
It's more than that.
Yeah.
That's just the rollover amount, the
Okay.
unspent, yeah.
I think it's going to be another great program this year, which is awesome, so,
And all donation funded too,
Yeah.
which is really awesome.
yeah, totally. Okay, so if there aren't, yes, go ahead.
So with regards to the step and grade and the IGA for the South Arc, that is still being negotiated, correct?
Correct.
The IGA itself is being negotiated. The step and grade plan is not, the dollar amount for the step and grade program is not in the IGA. That is not being tied, the dollars for the step and grade plan are not tied into the IGA. That's a process that Chief Jonke, Amy, and I work through within the budgeted amount that we have.
Okay.
So I just had questions about the New Year's Eve tradition. What's that entail?
Fun.
Got some ideas.
Fun? Just that.
Everybody gets to hold a firework before it goes off?
Yes. So when it goes off.
Right, yeah.
It's going to be a great time.
Plans are still being put together, but generally speaking, right now, the concept is we're going to do a heart drop from the intersection of Sackett and F. Chief Jonke is going to be lending us the ladder truck, and we're going to be putting the bucket up high, and we're going to be dropping a lighted heart to do the countdown at midnight. Likely going to do 2 different drops, one, I believe, at 9 p.m. and the other at midnight.
So the
One
9
so that
p.m. is for me.
Yeah, for folks like the mayor, and also families with young children. And so we hope to close down that block between Sackett and First. Get the revelers out there and having a good time, and hopefully have some music for folks to dance to. We'll probably be coming to you all for a amplified sound permit variance to be able to extend that at least to the midnight hour.
Noise on New Year's Eve?
Yeah, I can imagine it. Of course, nobody else will be doing any fireworks around town because that's not allowed. We are still talking about what else might accompany the heart drop itself as far as just kind of ringing in the new year. But it's time to start something a little bit new, and we've got members of the arts and culture team already starting on the design of the heart to be dropped. Should be a really good time. We'll start building it up and telling folks about it a little bit more here as we get closer to the date. So,
Should be great for residents and visitors, and
Yeah.
should be really, really good for businesses.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
Thank you.
It's
Okay.
my anniversary
Happy anniversary.
on New Year's Eve.
Okay.
early.
Do we have any, so if there aren't any more questions, do we have anyone signed up for public comment?
Oh, sorry.
I don't know, let's see if that paper.
I don't understand why not.
Well, it's exciting stuff. How about online?
Nope.
Okay. So no need for any rebuttal because from the applicant, which is us, or from staff. No one asked offered any comments, so there's no reason to question anybody who didn't say anything. I'll go ahead and close the public hearing, and that'll take us to preliminary council discussion. Who'd like to start?
Yeah, I admittedly was, a little surprised by the $10,000 thrown in, but hearing this new tradition and, I got a chance to talk to Mr. Gilling about it, and the idea of just having something in the wintertime for this community to draw people in is really important. We know that summer is huge for us. And yeah, I'm excited. That sounds really exciting, Bill. So, yeah.
I appreciate you taking the initiative on this.
Not doing anything else.
Anyone else?
No, I was wondering if our treasurer had anything.
I just want to make sure people understand the New Year's Eve celebration will be for 2025. So it won't be this December, it'll be the following December.
Oh, okay.
Thank you for
Because that's-
clarifying.
That's what it's budgeted for.
Oh,
Unless Bill can find us some more money.
you caught him mid-bite.
We're doing it bootstrap style for this year, actually. So it will be this New Year's Eve. We're going to kick it off. We just don't have a large amount of dedicated funds for the event this year. That's why we're planning for next year. We do actually have some additional funds, 2024 funds within my department's budget that we'll be planning on using for materials for the construction of the Heart. Pretty much everything else is really just utilizing existing staff time and volunteer time. And hopefully we can get a few sponsorships that we have been looking into as well for this year, at the very least, if not next.
I do think it'll be great to enhance our economic impact for that time of year. It's definitely a slow time of year for the city, so anything we do to help our businesses would be appreciated. So,
$20,000 of unspent public art commission stuff sounds maybe, I don't know what that's even for. I'm just gonna let it go.
Are you?
Meaning we did
I'm just
spend
so
80,000.
confused by it. But I'm glad you're stepping up, Bill, with your department.
I'm just going to add that it does kind of fill a gap too with Monarch ending their tradition to doing the torchlight parade and the fireworks. So which also pulls people up there, and then they're driving, and so it is going to be nice to have something in town.
We've had really good conversations with the representatives from Monarch Mountain. It'll be a really nice partnership. Yeah.
Ready?
And we're asking you to continue this till, our next regular meeting, not adopt the budget tonight. This is just the hearing, and you still have some time to think.
Mr. Mayor, I move to continue the hearing for Resolution 2024-64, summarizing revenues and expenditures for each fund and adopting a budget for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2025 and ending on the last day of December 2025 to the October 15th regular meeting.
Second.
So we have a motion from Councilmember Nacarado, seconded by Councilmember Cutelli. The motion is to continue the hearing for Resolution 2024-64, summarizing revenues and expenditures for each fund and adopting a budget for the calendar year beginning on the first day of January 2025 and ending on the last day of December 2025 to the October 15th regular meeting. That is a lot of dates. Further discussion?
Papenfort,
Yes.
Critelli,
Yes.
Nacarado,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Yes.
Stevens, Fontana.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate all the work. And now next up is ordinance 2024-19, an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Salida, Colorado, amending section 2-8-30 of the Salida Municipal Code concerning the Planning Commission membership and organization. This is a first reading and setting a second reading and public hearing.
Yes, hello, council, mayor and council. So planning commissioners asked us to present different updates. We spoke about whether they do a bylaw change, that'll be in the future, but they definitely wanted clarity in the attendance policy. So this 9 out of 12, not missing more than 3 meetings in a year is mentioned elsewhere in the code as to if council can remove somebody from any board of commission, but they wanted it under the planning commission section. So the section of the code that discusses the planning commission. So we wanted, this makes it the expectations clear to attend at least 9 out of 12 regular meetings in a calendar year. And that's, again, requested by planning commission after working on a work session between myself and actually Carolyn, the senior planner, as well, actually did most of the work as well. So we presented different options to them. And this is where they led as initial step, some of the things they wanted to do, I said, well, that's for you to, if you want to do a bylaws, but as in terms of the code change has to come before you, this is just the clarification. If we could go to the text language, that would help of the ordinance. Maybe it's probably a page or two. So this is what we're adding, just this. A member of the planning commission shall have no more than 3 absences from regular planning commission meetings in a 12-month period. Again, it really is for expectations, just so for members or even people who are applying to be considered by you, they just know the expectation. And the expectation is important because a lot of business goes in front of the planning commission, and the planning commissioners felt that it was important for people to stay up on the different types of applications, the code, and that sort of thing. But it still allows grace for people's lives as a volunteer organization. Let me know if you have any questions. This is just on first reading as well.
Quick question, well, others are, with those 9, all in person, or can they be virtual as well? It's not spelled out.
We have a remote participation policy citywide. If they want to be more specific, they can, in their bylaws, they can appear virtually right now. I would recommend that they do something similar to you all, that not all of them, especially since a lot of them are quasi-judicial proceedings. You always want to be there in person to the extent possible. But right now they can appear remotely pursuant to our remote participation policy if they want to, which is citywide, but if they want to be more specific, they can adopt bylaws, which we've told them about.
Okay, thanks. Sorry, Gina.
Oh, that was my question.
Okay,
Yeah.
okay. Any other, yeah.
Yes. So when is the next, how does their rotation work with the planning commission?
How often do they meet, or?
No, so if you're on the planning commission, are you every 2 years? Are you 4 years? Or?
It's 4-year terms. So when it comes up, we try to get ahead of it before the expiration for renewals, and obviously talk to the members to find out if they're planning on renewing or continuing, and if not, then we start advertising. At this point, and I'll use this as an opportunity, we actually have newly have 2 spots that are open. We've actually extended the deadline for the applications for the Planning Commission through next Monday. So those people out there in public land, if you're interested, please do apply on the city website. Does that answer your question?
It does. And further to that is when a seat comes open, is it just random or is it, is there a month? It's not like every November. Like
It's
the
generally
election.
4 years from the appointment date.
And the appointment dates are varied
Yeah.
throughout the year?
Yeah, it can vary
Okay.
on circumstances, so, yeah. We have it, spread out through the entire year, calendar year, and we have some folks who will be terminating, I believe, next year in 2025, and then others in 27, others in 28, yeah.
Okay,
all
so
around
it's
the board.
staggered.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Bill, in general, are all of the boards 4 years?
I can't say that I know that. I look at Diesel, he says 2 years for Prost.
Okay.
But it makes sense, because of, with the planning commission and how complex the code can be and detailed,
Yeah.
to have people that aren't rotating off every year or two just when they're starting to get a hang of things.
Yeah.
They're making
See Christie
quasi-judicial
shaking her head,
decisions.
having
Right.
served as a planner for as long as she did. Yeah, yeah.
It's good to have some experience in it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Any other questions? Then we'll go ahead and move on to council discussion.
I think this addresses a concern that we had at one point, and so I'm ready to offer a motion.
I would take a motion. I think this provides fairness too, so it's good.
Exactly.
Yep.
I move to approve ordinance 2024-19 and associated language amending the Salida Municipal Code.
Second.
So a motion from Councilmember Pappenfort, seconded by Councilmember Cutelli, and the motion is to approve ordinance 2024-19 and associated language amending the Salida Municipal Code. Further discussion?
Can I interject?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
That's okay.
They also need to set the public hearing for October 15th,
Okay.
because this is first reading and setting the
Yeah,
public hearing
setting public.
for October 15th.
Okay. Do you mind redoing that?
Sorry.
Okay, and so the first reading is on,
Yeah, you
on
don't?
final adoption on the 15th of October. Okay, I'm just trying to find the motion again. I move to approve ordinance 2024-19 and associated language amending the Salida Municipal Code and
Setting the public hearing.
setting the public hearing for the
October
15th of
15th.
October.
Yeah, perfect.
I'll second that.
Okay, very good. Further discussion? There wasn't any? Go ahead. I think you're good now.
Fontana,
Yes.
Nacarado,
Yes.
Stevens,
Yes.
Critelli,
Yes.
Pappenfort,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion passed.
Wow. It is 6:54, and we're at council reports. Now, I know we have a executive session to go into after this, but well done. First up, we'll start with Councilmember Critelli.
Just to let everybody know that Salida Theater Fest is still happening. Even tonight, if we get out earlier enough, we can go to Coffee by Topo, and there's 3 ladies singing there, some cabaret numbers, which is pretty good. But I think it's a really good opportunity to just get out and see the vibrant acting community that we have here, and the just what they have done to make our limited stage space so vibrant and utilized. And that's all I have. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Fontana.
I do have a few things. I try to do it to 3 things, but today I have 4. So I listened to the Heart of the Rockies Radio friendly debate with Rob Gartzman of the Flour Mill and Vince Phillips, and it was educating, informative, about the Chaffey County Housing Authority initiative. So if you want to listen to that, it's on Heart of the Rockies Radio, and you just go to it and you can find it, Chaffey County Housing Authority. The next thing is, thank you to South Arc Fire District for their time last week and coming in and talking with us, not last week, the week before, coming in and talking to us. I appreciate them. Also I've had a lot of people coming to talk to me and emails and such about making progress with the Poncha Sewer Line. So obviously we have our executive sessions and such, and we have been informed that there is still communication going on with all of the parties. Unless, our attorney would like to give another update on that at some other time. Last thing is I met with Crime Stoppers. They are in need of volunteers, especially fundraising efforts. If anybody has any ideas or thoughts on that, and that Crime Stoppers is made of some volunteers in the community, Salida PD, Chaffey County Sheriff's Department. And so if you have any interest in that, fundraising or anything else for their Crime Stoppers, I'm sure you can get a hold of Salida PD, Detective Mesky. I know he's a big part of that, and the Sheriff's Department. So that's all I have.
Great, thank you. Councilmember Nacarado.
I had the pleasure.
I waited till you were right mid-gulp.
Let's see, yeah, just really quickly, my daughter was able to attend one of the Salida Theater Festival workshops last Saturday, and she really enjoyed it, learning how to do improv and audition for roles. And I would have liked to attend it myself, but I was fixing my washing machine, which was not vibrant. Still not. And I did have the pleasure of attending the West End Development kind of celebration with Chaffey Housing Trust, along with Elisa, Councilmember Pappenfort. and was really cool to see on the ground our inclusionary housing work in action with housing that was available to buy for very reasonable prices. So it was great to see staff there and hear staff speak. That's educational as always. And I was reflecting on how much trust things like that build with staff, just seeing it happen on the ground in these 6 units that are for sale. You know, when it's presented in here in council, sometimes it's really hard to wrap your head around what is this, what's it gonna look like? So to see it out there and to see the list of interested parties in buying those units was really, felt really good. And then my understanding is that the developer went above and beyond the 6 inclusionary units and included some workforce rental units in that development as well. So those are available through the Chafee Housing Trust for purchase, but came through the city's inclusionary housing policy. And I just want to say thank you to staff for just being so responsive to my questions when I have to ask about these complicated issues. Obviously working through Christy to get to meet and hear from other staff too, but it's always great to have you answer my questions. And I just, in my 3 years, almost 3 years now on council, I have a lot of trust in what you do. And my last thing is one of those conversations with Christy. We have been talking about the deer issue, and Christy and other staff have reached out to CPW, and there's been a lot of back and forth, and it just seems like we're not going to be able to do anything about the deer problem or issue immediately. It's very complicated in working with CPW and the citizens of Salida and the deer themselves. They're complicated. So what I would like to ask for is, well, I guess what I'd like to ask for at the minimum is like a newsletter article with the Salida Standard with Sean Shepard of CPW, because he's really great at presenting all the issues with the deer, including just how some of the terrible things that already happen to deer because they're living in this wildland-urban interface. So at the very least, and then potentially asking Sean to come in to do a work session with us. But I'm kind of hesitant to ask for that yet. What I would really like to do is hear from the public about, and via email or my cell phone, which is on the website, about both, do they want to see something done about the deer? Have the deer been presented as a safety hazard, or the other side of that coin too? And just really want to hear from the public about what the public would like us to do.
I'll second the newsletter if you need that.
I'll third it. Great. Councilmember Davenport.
I would like everybody to please slow down in your cars, because I'm continuing to get complaints from citizens, and our officers are dealing with violent crime. I can't argue with their priorities. It looks to me like they've got it correct. So please slow down, protect our children, stop aggravating the heck out of your neighbors by speeding through the roads. And the second thing I would say is get out there and enjoy the leaves. They are so magnificent this time of the year. You know, it just felt like last weekend was peak. And if you get out there and see some leaves, you'll feel like slowing down, because you'll find your joy, and your joy is not always in your right foot. That's all I have.
Thanks. Councilmember Stevens.
All I have is, just, being October, everybody's starting to gear up for Halloween. I know I've been pushing off my family, putting the decorations out. I think, but tomorrow's my deadline on that. But just wanted to kind of reach out, and I've had some people kind of come up to me about the closure of F Street for the trick-or-treating for the kids this year. Make sure that people are really adamant about having the whole street, closed down. Maybe talk about the layout of last year. Maybe some people were concerned about kind of where everything was last year a little bit, but mainly just talk about just the closure of F Street for safety reasons for the kids and maybe a little more lighting going on F Street. But that's really all I really had for
Thanks.
for tonight.
Councilmember Martin?
Well, I guess really quick, do we need to give direction or something for that, for the closure for Halloween? I don't know. I just don't know like what the process normally is for that when it happens.
You do not, what do we have it on? Next week, sorry.
Yeah, it's going to be a consent agenda, but as it stands now, it's closed the same as last year. I think we might extend the block up. We had people asking for it closed a little bit further up, but you'll have more detail in your event report next week.
Next week.
In 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Thanks.
Thank you. I wanted to announce that it is Breast Cancer Awareness Month, and the Heart of the Rockies Regional Medical Center is putting on a pink happy hour Friday night at the Velveteen from 5 to 7 p.m. It is a fundraiser for the cause and also wear pink. And there's like a drawing raffle thing they're doing. So if you wear pink, you get an extra ticket, something like that. And then I also wanted to see if there would be interest amongst council for the Alliance coming in for a work session so we can learn more about what they do. I have the pleasure of just joining their board, and it's a great organization. So,
Yeah, it's been a while since we've had them in, so yeah. Okay.
And that's it for me.
Great.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I had one last thing about what Dominique said about the Chaffee Housing Trust.
Sure.
It was just that their staff was so informative when I went to that. And
They're a great resource.
Yes.
Yep. Great, thanks, thanks. Yeah, I just had a few things, and first off, you were talking about wearing pink shirts, and I was thinking, if this was 20 or 30 years ago, wouldn't it have really been safe to have gone there to the Old Vic as a pink shirt? But now it's probably okay. I had just a few things. I wanted to echo what Councilmember Critelli said about Theater Fest. I've had a chance over the last few nights to see Jennifer Dempsey's production at Box of Bubbles, which is incredible, truly a force of nature. Last night I saw Capote at A Church, and it was amazing. It's going off Broadway, so it just blows my mind, not only the talent we have in this community, but that we're able to draw from other places too. So if you haven't had a chance, definitely get out and check it out. The second thing I wanted to mention is I did go to the Boys and Girls Club Gala last Wednesday. Treasurer Gilling was there as well. They raised $71,000 for the club. It was a really good deal. So yeah. And a great event. It's just seeing the community come together like that is really heartwarming. And then the last thing I wanted to mention, and this is probably going to come to as a surprise to someone sitting up here, but we have a council member that has only been with us now for maybe 6 months, but has made a really huge impact in that 6 months, and so much so that she won the Best of Salida local elected official, and it goes to Wales Martin. And I was trying to hide that the whole time, so you wouldn't peek over and see. So congratulations, and thank you for the work you do. Yeah.
Wow. Thank you so much. Sorry, I didn't, yeah.
Speech! And I would, no more than 20 minutes. Well done. Good job. Thank you. Treasurer report.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Yes, I did have an opportunity to attend the gala for Boys and Girls Club, but Mr. Mayor wouldn't let me borrow his bidding card, so I just didn't get as many bids in as I wanted to. But no, it was a great.
Watch him like a hawk.
It was a great event, and it's really great to see that organization be able to have those funds to help take care of our children and try to fill in the child care desert that we have here in our community. So besides that, that's the end of my comments.
Okay, wonderful, thanks. And then I believe our Attorney Williams has a couple of updates this evening.
Yes, so Councilmember Fontana mentioned about the update with our litigation and settlement conferences with the lawsuit that was brought against the city by the town of Poncha Springs and two local developers. So we had a mediation on August 26th, and we're working through a term sheet. I was hopeful that we would have finalized that by now, but I'm told that different vacation schedules from different members of the developers have, just slowed it down just because of practicality. So we're really still remain hopeful. Hopefully we get things resolved and we can move forward as a community. And secondly, the Colorado Supreme Court has granted certiorari yesterday for the case brought by Matthew Hobbs against the city of Salida. So the city of Salida, you may remember, we won on the district court level and the Court of Appeals level. This case is unfortunately not supported by CIRSA because monetary damages weren't being brought in. But I do have good news. The CML, Colorado Municipal League, has already approved in anticipation that if certiorari is granted, that they will file an amicus brief, which means friends of the court. They will file a brief to the Supreme Court because how this goes affects municipalities across the whole state. We are lucky that we get to have had this burden due to the case brought against us, but that is good news that CML will be helping, and we'll keep you updated on dates and when we file our responses.
Okay, thank you. Any department updates?
I just want to say, I haven't been able to go to any adult entertainment, like a gala, but I did get to go to the CRT, the youth actors from the Creek Repertory Theater last Friday with my 5-year-old, and we enjoyed it immensely. So thanks for bringing that. That's all I have.
Okay, great. And we do have an executive session this evening.
Mr. Mayor, I move to go into executive session for discussion of personnel matter under CRS Section 24-6-402-4F and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in open session.
Oh, guys,
Any member of this body or any elected official, the appointment of any person to fill an office of this body or of an elected official, or personnel policies that do not require the discussion of matters personal to particular employees, and the following details are provided for identification purposes, 6-month performance evaluation with the city clerk.
Second. So we have a motion from Councilmember Nacarado, seconded by Councilmember Critelli, and the motion is to go into executive session for discussion of a personnel matter under CRS Section 24-6-402-4F and not involving any specific employees who have requested discussion of the matter in an open session, any member of this body or any elected official, the appointment of any person to fill an office of this body or of an elected official, or personnel matters, policies that do not require the discussion of matters personal to particular employees. And the following additional details are provided for identification purposes.
that point and then realized that
Yeah.
we were completely misled on what proxy even meant.
Right.
She's getting a little out of hand with her,
Decorating?
what she wants to do. Some tree or some branches.
Man, what is that, a slice? It's like a sliver.
Are you judging the sliver?
Slim, she's thinking something like.
Could see through that thing.
Oh.
No, it's too nice.
That is at least 20 sheets of paper.
Welcome to the webinar. You have entered as an organizer and may now speak with other organizers or panelists on the line. When you are ready for your attendees to hear you, press the Start Broadcast button on the GoToWebinar control panel. The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. The time is now 7:50 PM, and the executive session has been concluded. The participants in the executive session were council members Critelli, Fontana, Stevens, Martin, Nacarado, Pappenfort, and Mayor Shore, along with Administrator Christy Dune, City Attorney Nina Williams, and City Clerk Christy Jefferson. For the record, if any person who participated in the executive session believes that any substantial discussion of any matters not included in the motion to go into the executive session occurred during the executive session, or that any improper action occurred during the executive session in violation of the open meetings law, I would ask that you state your concerns for the record. Seeing none, the next agenda item would be a motion to adjourn.
I move we adjourn.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anyone opposed? I didn't think so. Have a good night, everybody. Thank you.
I have these